You wake before sunrise inside a Roman military camp, surrounded by the distant sound of crackling torches and the low murmur of soldiers beginning to stir. Cold morning air floods your lungs as you push yourself upright, your breath forming small clouds of mist in the dim light. All around you, hundreds of soldiers slowly rise to their feet, faces hardened by years of service, moving with the quiet efficiency of men who have done this countless times before. You have been a soldier of Rome for 3 long years. 3 years of sweat, discipline, and sacrifice in service to the greatest empire the world has ever known. 17 more years remain before you can hang up your shield and return home, a lifetime of service stretching out before you like an endless road. A deep horn call echoes across the camp, rolling between the tent rows and bouncing off the wooden palisade walls, jolting every man to attention. Training begins immediately. There is no time for hesitation, no room for slowness, for Rome demands nothing less than absolute readiness from her soldiers. You lift your heavy shield and grip your gladius tightly, feeling the familiar weight of both settle into your arms and shoulders like old friends. Roman discipline is merciless and absolute. Every action governed by strict rules, every failure met with swift and certain consequence. Even the smallest mistakes bring punishment. A soldier who breaks rank, who stumbles during drill, who fails to maintain his equipment, will know the centurion's vine staff before the day is done. The legion forms into perfect rows with mechanical precision, each man knowing his place, each body a single piece in a vast and unstoppable machine of war. Hundreds of shields rise together as one, the sudden thunder of wood and iron filling the air, a wall of scarlet and bronze extending as far as the eye can see. You march in perfect rhythm with your brothers, feet striking the earth in unison, the ground trembling faintly beneath the weight of thousands of hobnailed sandals. Roman soldiers march for miles every single day, covering ground that would break an ordinary man, building the kind of endurance that makes legions unconquerable. All of this while carrying heavy armor, weapons, tools and supplies, a total load that can reach the weight of a full-grown man strapped to your back. Your shoulders ache deeply from the weight, the straps of your pack biting into flesh that has long since gone numb, every step a quiet act of will. But stopping is not allowed. To fall behind is to invite shame, punishment, and the scorn of every man in your century who kept moving when you did not. Training continues with wooden swords, the crack of practice blades ringing out across the drill ground as men pair off and go through their forms with focused intensity. These training weapons are deliberately heavier than real ones, designed to build strength in your arms and shoulders until the actual gladius feels light as a feather. You drive the point of your sword into the training post again and again, the impact reverberating up your arm, your muscles burning as the repetitions mount. Roman soldiers do not slash wildly at the enemy. That is the way of barbarians and the undisciplined, wasting energy and opening yourself to a counterstrike. They stab with precision and economy of motion, driving the blade low and fast beneath an enemy's guard to end the fight before it truly begins. Later in the afternoon, you're ordered to dig trenches around the camp perimeter, picks and shovels replacing swords, as the endless labor of a Roman soldier continues. Roman soldiers are also builders, the men who carved roads through forests, raised bridges over rivers, and transformed open fields into impregnable fortresses overnight. Blisters form and burst on your hands as the digging goes on, raw skin stinging with every grip, but the work does not slow, and neither do you. By the time evening falls, what was open ground has become a fortified camp with ramparts and ditches, a small city born in a single day from the labor of soldiers' hands. Suddenly, a rider bursts through the camp gates, his horse lathered and wild-eyed, the messenger leaping down before the animal has fully stopped. The enemy army has been sighted nearby, their campfires visible on the far hills at dusk, their numbers suggesting a force large enough to require the full strength of the legion. The camp falls utterly silent in the wake of the news, thousands of men processing the same thought at the same moment. Tomorrow, men will die. Tomorrow, there will be battle, and every soldier in the legion knows that no amount of training fully prepares a man for the moment when the lines collide. You sit beside the fire and draw your sword across the whetstone, slowly and deliberately. The rhythmic scrape of metal on stone, a small ritual against the fear creeping into your chest. Morning arrives quickly, too quickly. The darkness barely thinning before the horns sound again, and the camp erupts into purposeful motion. The legion forms up outside the camp in battle order, centuries slotting into cohorts, and cohorts into the broad front of the Roman line with practiced, silent efficiency. Red banners and golden eagle standards catch the morning wind and snap proudly overhead, the symbols of Rome's power visible to friend and enemy alike across the wide plain. Across the field, the enemy waits in their own formation, their war cries drifting on the wind, their numbers darkening, the far tree line like a coming storm. At the command, shields lock together with a sound like rolling thunder, the Roman wall forming in an instant, every gap sealed, every man pressed shoulder to shoulder with his brother. The Roman line begins to move forward with slow, grinding inevitability, the measured step of thousands of soldiers eating up the distance between the two armies yard by yard. Arrows fall from the sky in black, humming swarms, clattering off shields and helmets, punching into the earth around you, and a man 3 ranks behind screams once and falls silent. The battle begins in a chaos of noise and impact. The shattering crash as the two lines collide, the ground shaking beneath the weight of thousands of bodies pressing against each other. Steel crashes against steel in a relentless rhythm, the sound of battle an overwhelming roar that fills your entire world, leaving no room for thought, only instinct and training remain. You stab with your gladius low and hard, just as you have practiced thousands of times, the movement automatic, your body doing what your mind no longer needs to direct. The enemy line begins to buckle under the relentless pressure of the Roman advance, gaps opening in their ranks, men beginning to break and run as the formation loses its cohesion. Rome wins the battle. The eagle standard still standing, the line still intact, the field ultimately belonging to the legion as it has belonged to Rome's armies 1,000 times before. But many soldiers lie on the ground where they fell, men you trained with, ate with, men whose names you knew. And victory has the heavy, hollow feeling it always does when good men are lost. This is the life of a Roman soldier. Not glory and triumph alone, but 20 years of marching, building, bleeding and enduring, all in service to an empire that will outlast every man who ever raised a shield in its name.